Yo, yo, yo.
Good evening, America. We have reached the win or go home segment of Straight No Chase, where some teams win and others, well, they go home. That's what happens in the playoffs.
Right.
Survive and advance.
Unfortunately, we haven't been in this spot in a while, But it's all good. We have.
A while as in
Hold
2
up,
years ago?
It's something in my hat.
What's in
Wait,
there?
pull your head out.
What's in there?
Let's see.
A new offensive coordinator?
No, it's just a Super Bowl.
Okay.
Where's yours at? I have a question.
Coming soon.
I have a question for the audience. Comment down below. Turn to the side. Show us your jacket. 81, 84, 88, 89, 94. If any of you all were not born in any of those years, because I'm sure a lot of our audience is not that old, unfortunately.
Well, you talking about all your friends?
Or watch this. Or watch
don't
this.
know about our podcast?
Watch this. Even if you are that old, if you remember any of those, or were you a twinkle in your mom's eye in preschool, elementary school, middle school, not even thought about yet.
We're going to let him live, America, because he's still grieving the loss, clearly.
Right. He's about to be grieving on Saturday, but we'll talk about that.
Let's get to the games.
What'd you think about Wildcard weekend?
Good job, NFL. Like, highly contested games, right? Rams, Panthers, 34-31. Bears, Packers, 31-27. Packers probably still kicking themselves. 31-27. Bills, Jaguars, 27-24. Niners, Eagles, 23-19. Those four games were highly contested. It's what you want to see in the playoffs. The best teams in the NFL duke it out to see who can survive in advance. Patriots, Chargers, kind of uninspiring, 16-3. And then final score of the Texans was 17-6.
No, it was like 30.
Oh.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, I fell asleep on that one.
30-6.
30-6. Good gracious. So I think overall, Wildcard Weekend was a success. I think the addition of the seventh team in each conference is working out. And I think although only one team gets a bye now, I like the opportunity for another team in each conference to have a chance to win it all. Because at some point, a seventh seed is going to win the Super Bowl. That's going to happen.
Well, not this year.
Well, yeah, the Packers are done.
So is the Chargers.
Let's go Rams, Panthers. What'd you think?
I think Rams had no... Puka saved that game. Puka making the defensive play. I can't remember the corner's name. He dislodged the ball. It would have been potentially a game-ending interception. I think that changed the whole complexion of the game. Obviously, the Rams had that game-winning drive with the tight end, but I think the Panthers were more than able to win that game. I just think it was too many mistakes. Turnovers obviously hurt in the beginning of the game, and then not being able to convert on third and fourth down cost them the game. And then defense not being able to get off the field and get timely stops.
I love Matt Stafford's comment in the huddle, telling his guys, let's take their hearts. Devontae Adams spoke to that in his post-game conference or post-game interview. Sean McVay talked about Stafford played like an MVP. So it was a great game. I think the way the game unfolded, it validated the Panthers' inclusion in the playoffs. Right? They beat the Rams in the regular season. They almost beat them again. So for all the Tampa Bay Bucks fans out there who probably felt like they should have made the playoffs, the manner in which the Panthers played validated their inclusion. I think the Rams' experience bubbled to the surface with the game on the line, and they were able to close them out. Bears, Packers.
I think it was that Packers game to lose. I think they played in the second half. You saw they played not to lose. They got a 21-3 lead, and they just couldn't finish. And the 6 points in the second half is not going to suffice. Kind of the same with us. Like, we'll get to our game in a second.
For the Packers, you know this as a coach yourself. No matter the score of the game, you always instill a mentality in your players that the score is 0-0. It's 0-0. When you watch the Packers play in the third quarter, they played like they had a 2-score lead, right? They played like they knew they were winning. They became complacent, and that complacency facilitated the Bears' comeback. To me, that's coaching. Like, your players have to have a certain mentality and philosophy during the game, especially in the playoffs. It doesn't matter if you're up 21-3 or 21-6. The game is 0-0. And if you preach that as a coach in the preseason and throughout the 17-game regular season, it just becomes a part of your bone marrow and who you are. So you don't have to, like, put the pedal to the metal because your coach is saying so. You've heard him say it for 4 months. You just do that instinctively. And shout out to Caleb Williams, because one thing he has proved this year, the young boy is clutch. He gets it done with the game on the line. The Bears are always in it.
Bowie's finest.
So one thing about the Bears, if you're going to beat them, you got to get rid of them, and you got to, like, put your foot on their neck. Because if they're within 1 score in the fourth quarter with the game on the line, he has proven that he can get it done time and time again. So, shout outs to the Bears. Packers, better luck next year. Bills, Jags. What you got?
I just think the Bills were the better team. Even though I thought the Jaguars had the better defense, I think the Bills showed on Sunday the playoff experience and how it's so vital in the playoffs. And I just think they found a way to win. And Josh Allen would not be denied, especially with the touch push and all that. I just think they found a way to win. And that was just – Josh Allen proved why he's Josh Allen, why he gets paid the big money, and why he's considered a top quarterback in the league.
And the reigning MVP until Matt Stafford wins. I think to your point, the playoff experience was evident. The Bills have been in the playoffs for 7 consecutive seasons. And you saw that. Right? Like, they have been here before. Mm-hmm. They've been in a wild card game before. And they've been up to the AFC Championship in the Josh Allen era. So there was no panic. I'm not going to say there was panic on the Jaguars as well, because I don't know that they played like an inexperienced playoff team. They played solid. They had a chance to win. Mm-hmm. But I just think, like you said, great players step up, and great players make big plays in big games, and Josh Allen, to his credit, he did exactly that.
Yes, sir.
Give me a second, America. 49ers, Eagles. Your tape.
I mean, it's simple. I think it just felt like that was our game to win. Like, plain and simple. Obviously, I'm going to be biased because I'm an Eagles fan, but it felt like we were just one big score, one big play away from just closing the game out. That's what it felt like, honestly. You could see the morale went down when Kittle went down for the 49ers, and they were looking for momentum. Quinyon Mitchell had multiple interceptions, but we just couldn't capitalize. When the score was 13-10, I just felt like I kept saying in the back of my head, if we scored a touchdown on that drive when it was 13-10, or one of those drives, we ultimately end up kicking a field goal to make it 16-10, instead of trying to make it 20-10. I feel like if it was 20-10, the game would have been over. Simple as that. I felt like that was a game, first person to 20 wins, and that other team was going to be done. And honestly, what it showed was our game on Sunday was a microcosm of the season, or how our season. If you're not an Eagles fan, if you don't watch Eagles football, that was our season. Not being able to finish on drives, punting a lot, getting our defense bailing us out, getting us turnovers, but our offense not being able to do anything, being stagnant. And then at the end, you're trying to get a Jalen Hurts to bail you out, even with the bad play calling. You have two bona fide number one receivers in Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. I'm not saying they're the best duo in the league. Obviously, I'm going to be biased and say they are. But, they're kind of like T. Higgins, Jamar Chase-esque, any other elite duo you can name in the NFL. And you have them both running go routes. And then Jahan Dotson and Dallas Goedert running crossing routes. That's your best play on 4th down and 11. That's why we lost that game. Incompetence.
So with all that said, is it your position that the 49ers won the game or the Eagles lost the game?
Both. I think the 49ers wanted it more, and I think the Eagles just gave the game up. And it said, hey, it is what but to me, I feel as though, and they're never going to come out and say this as an organization, I feel as though they didn't want to make the same mistake in 2023 and make a premature decision in their eyes by firing Patullo mid-season just because it's not working. Even though they did that in 2023. And it ended up being worse, but honestly, in my opinion, what could have got worse than Kevin Patullo? 2 go routes and a crossing route, which are tight end and your number 3 receiver. That's the best play you have.
I will say this.
Against a mostly third string defense. You know your team better than I do. None of your linebackers were on your team a month ago. Your secondary is fairly young, rookies, second-year players, and a D-line that's young, turning into their own, and nobody has above 10 sacks?
So I think a couple different things, right? At 16-10, if you score again before us, even if it's a field goal, at 16-10, if you get a field goal or a touchdown and it's 19-10 or 23-10 Eagles, it would have been tough for us to come back from down 2 scores. Because
the psychological advantage.
A 2-score lead would have made us one-dimensional.
Mm-hmm.
And although Christian McCaffrey barely averaged 3 yards a carry, there is something to be said about being intentional with regard to running the football, even if you're not running it at a efficient yards per carry clip in terms of 5-6 yards a carry. Even if it's 3 yards a carry, being intentional about being 2-dimensional offensively, I think helped us because it forced you all to play against the run and the pass option throughout the entire game. Going down 2 scores, chances are we wouldn't have ran very much being down 2 scores, especially in the second half when time is your enemy if you're trailing.
Yeah.
I think that the Eric Hendricks pickup was critical. Veteran linebacker, played several years for the Vikings, experienced in the playoffs, and although he's only been around for a month, having a veteran, considering the number of injuries we have sustained on the defensive side of the ball, I think that was crucial for us. To your point, we were down to our 5th, 6th, and 7th string linebacker. That's unheard of to be decimated by injury to that extent at one position. 5th, 6th, and 7th string. And to be very honest, objectively speaking, obviously because I'm a 49er fan, there is something to be said for the culture that Kyle Shanahan has established within our organization as the head coach. people talk about that next man up mentality. And, Mike Tomlin is famous for the standard is the standard, no matter who is in the game. I felt like we embodied that in the game against you all. Like, no matter who came in, the expectation is you do your job. You make plays. And I would agree with you in that we wanted it more. And with that 6-point lead, you all didn't go for the jugular. So, congratulations on a good season. You all are still the defending Super Bowl champs. It's not easy to repeat. There's a reason why it only happens, once a decade on average.
It was there, though. It was definitely, if this was going to be the year for any team, even if, obviously it wasn't going to happen, but last year, even if the Chiefs beat us, this was the year to repeat, because I guarantee you next year it's going to be way tougher for not just the Eagles, everybody. Because a lot of teams were not healthy this year. A lot of teams had different situations. Obviously, we'll get to it in a second. Harbough going to the Giants. I don't think that's going to be the last big hire. I think other teams are going to have sneaky good hires. Look out for the Seahawks offensive coordinator to get a head coaching job somewhere and turn a program around. It's going to be harder next year. And so, I've been telling everybody, I know this, I feel like all the teams that were good this year, not saying y'all, because y'all are usually in the fight outside of last year, but teams like the Bears, teams like the Patriots are not going to be top teams next year. The Ravens going to be back. The Chiefs going to be back. The Eagles going to be back. The Rams will probably be good. They're always in the mix. You know what I'm saying? Those are going to be the team. The Lions will be back. There's a lot of teams that you don't think about. The Commanders will be back in some way, shape, or form. It's not going to be easy is what I'm trying to say. The Panthers are on the rise. It's a lot of teams. I'm just going to say, I feel like this year was kind of the teams that are not really usually on the radar had a sneaky good year. Statistically looking at the NFL, usually the same teams are good for about 3 to 5 years. So I'm saying that to say, the NFL is changing, but it's also, next year is going to be way more competitive. I feel like this year was wide open as far as who could win it.
I agree with that wholeheartedly to the point where I cannot remember the last time we were in the divisional round of the playoffs with all 8 teams having a legit chance to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
If any of the teams remaining win, it wouldn't be a shock. Because I think everybody that remains
has a chance.
Really has a chance to be Super Bowl champions.
Yeah.
How often does that happen?
Not often.
Texans, Patriots, Bills, Broncos. It's not going to be a shock to see any one of them advance out of the AFC. Mm-hmm. They all have a legit shot. 49ers, Seahawks, Bears, Rams, same. Mm-hmm. All have a legit shot. So
we'll see. And only one can win, but at the same time, it's it is kind of dang, this is the first year where you really it's so many teams. Because in the beginning, it was some teams that was fool's gold, the Bucks, the Colts. This year was wide open.
Great point.
This year was wide open, and I just feel like next year it's not going to be the same. I can guarantee you that.
Before we segue into the picks for
do you want to recap Chargers?
Chargers Patriots. I think
real quick.
Patriots
were just dominated whole game. The score wasn't indicative how the game went. The Patriots could have easily put 30 on them, but they just weren't able to convert on some plays. But
the Chargers has missed opportunities to get some points.
I think the Chargers are going to need a lot in the offseason. They need people outside of Derwin James on the defensive side of the ball, game changers. And then Justin Herbert needs protection, and he needs serious weapons. Not fly-by-night guys that you just find off the street and be like, oh, yeah, play receiver for the Chargers.
Yeah, Keenan Allen.
I think it's time for their offensive coordinator. I can't think of his name. He used to be with the Ravens. But I think it's time for him to go. He plays a one-dimensional offense, heavy, two tight end look. I think it's time for them to move on and get an offensive coordinator who actually can call and spread and spread a defense open, that you can have decisive targets, decisive movement, constant motion, kind of similar to a Kellen Moore. I think it's time for them to get a new OC, but we'll see. And then last but not least, the game on Monday, the Texans and the Steelers. What did you think about that?
I expected the Texans to win. I didn't expect them to dominate the way that they did. 30-6.
Mm-hmm.
That's the 24-point differential was a bit of a shock, but I did expect them to win. I want to say, shout outs to Mike Tomlin, head coach for 19 seasons, 0 losing seasons, Super Bowl champion head coach. He is a first ballot Hall of Famer. 5 years
I don't know,
from retirement.
I don't know about Hall of Famer.
Mike Tomlin?
I'm kidding.
He's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
For sure. He's one of the greatest coaches to ever coach.
And as an African American head coach,
it's tough.
The manner in which he has conducted himself.
Never in no trouble.
Right?
Yeah, he said some funny
stuff. His
character.
Yeah. His integrity.
It's been nothing.
And the success
short but amazing
that he has enjoyed has paved the way for other African American coaches to get a head coaching opportunity.
Thanks.
Right? D'Amico Ryans, the coach for the Texans, for example.
Yep.
So really want to shout out Mike Tomlin. Kudos to him for blazing a trail for other African American head coaching prospects to follow. Shout out to Mike Tomlin.
Let's get to these picks. First game, Bills and Broncos.
I'm sticking with my guns. I picked the 49ers and Bills in the Super Bowl. I'm picking the 49ers and Bills until we get to the Super Bowl.
I like the Bills as well. I just think the Broncos are fool's gold. And I think their time is up. Let me be real, though. And we have never talked about this on this podcast. I think when it comes down to this game in particular, don't get me wrong, the Broncos have a great defense this year. They're really competitive. I think Bo Nix is going to mess it up for them. I think Bo Nix, I was reading something today where it says Bo Nix has the worst statistical offense as far as punting. It's the most punts for first 2-year starter. The percentage of punts is the most in NFL history.
He's the weak link, and I think
it's going to show.
The one thing about the Broncos, mm-hmm. They start slow.
Mm-hmm. Extremely.
You all had them 21-3.
No, we had 17-3.
Granted, they came back and won. The Giants had them.
Giants had them by a lot too.
They came back and won.
Yeah.
Starting slow.
In the playoffs, it's not going to work.
In the playoffs, against championship caliber teams, that's a recipe for disaster. So it's going to be critical to see what the Denver Broncos look like in the first quarter when you take into account they had a bye week. Mm-hmm. They were in the playoffs last year, but they only played one game, right? And I think the Bills got them last year. So the Bills are in a rhythm, right? They just got finished beating the Jags. They're probably chomping at the bit to advance out of the AFC because the boogeyman is gone, mm-hmm. right? So if the Broncos start slow,
it's over.
It's over. If they want to win this game, mm-hmm. They need to score the first touchdown.
Yeah. And even that, still don't think. I think Josh Allen has been here before. He's been to Kansas City in the playoffs. He knows what it takes. He knows what it's going to be. He knows it's going to be loud. I think they're ready for it, and I think the Bills are going to win. And let me say this. And I know we stopped doing score predictions in week 1. I'm not going to give a score prediction, but I don't think it's going to be close. I think the Bills are going to win by multiple scores. So
Okay, bold prediction there.
that's my bold prediction.
49ers Seahawks.
Good run, but it's over.
Yeah,
It's over here.
you hear America? He done turned straight no chase in the Def Comedy Jam. Good run?
Good
Yeah?
run, but it's over.
That's how you feel?
It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday.
Don't quit your day job.
I won't.
So here we go.
No, I like the Seahawks because I feel like the Seahawks are just a better team this year. I say offensively, can you guys score? Absolutely. But Seattle is a loud environment. Not saying y'all
Facts.
can't do
12-man
it.
series.
I'm not saying y'all can't do it. I just think that Kittle thing is really going to hurt and it's really going to show on Sunday. I think those trick plays and stuff like that you were able to get over on Sunday,
It was only one.
let me finish. I feel as though Mike McDaniel, obviously, I'm gonna be biased. First of all, I'm gonna go with the guy who won the Super Bowl. I think Vic Fangio is obviously the best defensive mind in the game right now. Even though I think Mike McDaniel is great, what I'm trying to get at is, I think Mike McDaniel will be ready for the trick plays. I think Mike McDaniel will be ready for the heavy dose of Christian McCaffrey. I think the Seahawks defense this year was the best defense. Us, the Texans, and them are the best defenses. And I just think it's going to be tough sledding. And it's a division foe, so they really know y'all. I just think they're the better team if Sam Darnold keeps it clean, like he did the first time or like he did when he played y'all for the division and the number one seed. If he keeps it clean, the Seahawks win. If they don't, remember I said if they don't, they'll lose. But I'm picking the Seahawks. Now, why do you pick you guys?
So the theme for Wildcard weekend, experience matters.
Facts.
Right? The Rams, been there before. Mm-hmm. The 49ers, been there before.
We have too.
The Bills, been there before. My point is, the Seahawks haven't. We not worried about y'all. We already got rid of y'all. Right? Y'all old news. We ain't worried about whether y'all been there before. Because y'all done. Seahawks have not been there before. This iteration of the Seahawks. Right?
It's been a while.
Sam Darnold, yeah, he played in the playoffs last year, 34-8, thanks to the Rams. The other guys on this team, it's different when you are expected to win. And that expectation has not been placed upon you before. They've been able to fly below the radar. Nobody's been talking about the Seahawks, right? Eagles were the favorite early on when y'all were 4-0. Then the Rams asserted themselves. Nobody's been talking about the Seahawks. So they've been able to fly below the radar without expectations. But what happens when you win the number one seed and you get the first round bye and you dominate the 49ers 2 weeks ago like you did? Now people start chirping like, well, maybe they the best team in the league. Maybe they going to come out the NFC. It's a totally different ball game when you are expected to win. Ask the Detroit Lions from last year. You seen what happened to them. 15-2, lost the first game they played. We have been there before. We have fresh tape on the Seahawks. And lost in how dominant their defense was 2 weeks ago, they only scored 13 points. So, I like our chances. Kittle is going to hurt. But we have enough weapons. CMC, Jawan Jennings, Kendrick Bourne, Ricky Pearsall, hopefully he plays, right? Jake Tonjes, who scored the game-winning touchdown against the Seahawks in Week 1. And not to mention that $50 million guy. I'm putting you to sleep. 49ers putting the Eagles to sleep again. We already put y'all to sleep once. Wake up. Mm-hmm. So for those reasons.
I'm just listening to all the nobodies you're naming.
And it's a puncher's chance. Fred Warner plays.
A puncher's chance.
If he plays,
You must be punch drunk because he ain't playing.
Look out.
All right, Texans Patriots. That was a cute soliloquy, but nobody cares. Texans Patriots.
No Eagles fan care. Texans Patriots. I thought the Chargers had a chance to get the Patriots. I think the Texans have a chance to get the Patriots.
Who you picking?
I'm going to go with the Texans.
Why?
Patriots ain't really been there before. Not this team. And they playing the number one defense, a team that travels very well because of how they play defense. Keep in mind, the Texans are the hottest team in the league. They've won 10 consecutive games, right? Nobody's talking about that. The last time they lost, who was that? September? 10 consecutive wins? October? It was October something. So, I'm going to go against the grain, and I'm going to go with the Texans to beat the Patriots.
I like the Patriots. I think the Patriots is a better overall team, offensively, defensively. It hurt to see my guy Milton Williams get that game-closing, game-winning sack on Sunday night, but it's all good. We'll draft another dog. But anyway, I like the Patriots.
Okay. Rams-Bears.
Final game, Rams-Bears. I like the Rams. I think the Rams are just a better team. I think this is going to be the closest game out of all the games on divisional round weekend. I think the Rams, Matthew Stafford MVP is going to show out. I think they're, like you said, playoff experience, battle tested. They played in the snow last year, and they were on the losing side of things against my Eagles. But I think this time, if it snows in Chicago, it being cold, whatever, they already been there. This same exact team, pretty much. They added a couple pieces in the offseason, but for the most part, it's the same exact team that's played in the snow, played in the cold, played in the playoffs. Yes, it's cold in Chicago. It's colder in Chicago than it is in Philly, but I think the Rams are battle-tested. They're just a better team. I think this will be the closest game, though, like a game-winning field goal type of thing. I like the Rams.
I think this is the most intriguing game this weekend. And the reason I say that, right, is because, yes, the Rams are battle-tested. Yes, McVay and Stafford are holdovers from the Super Bowl team from 2021. Yes, they played in the snow and in the cold last year against the Eagles. But let's acknowledge the elephant in the room. They lost that game. Right? So, if it's cold, it's vastly different than playing in Carolina last week or playing at SoFi Stadium.
America, I just want y'all to peep what he's doing.
That Soldier Field weather?
He don't want to see Matthew Stafford if they win. That's why he's picking them.
That Soldier Field weather?
He's picking the Bears because he'd rather see Caleb Williams over Matthew Stafford. Because he knows.
No, I'm not picking the Bears. Slow down.
Pick the Bears. Pick the
Let me
Bears.
finish.
No, pick the Bears.
You said your piece.
Go ahead.
I'm picking the Rams with
Why?
the caveat.
What's the caveat?
Well, I think the Rams are a better team.
What's the caveat? No, you don't. Because you did all that Soldier Field weather.
I think
that Chicago weather is brisk out there. Shout out Jory. Like,
at the end of the day,
what?
Weather doesn't win the game.
Facts. The men on the field do.
Teams win the game.
Facts.
So although the Bears have an advantage in terms of that Chicago Soldier Field cold weather, right? The Rams still have the better team. I'm picking the Rams, but this game is going to be very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before we close, you mentioned John Harbaugh to the Giants.
Harbaugh. With Scatterboo.
What you got to say?
Remember I said this, America. We'll talk about this in
Because that's your division.
Season 2, Episode 1.
They already smashed y'all the first time with Scatterboo.
This division is between the Philadelphia Eagles and the New York Giants. I know it sounds crazy right now.
Yeah,
Remember I said that. It's between us. I was right about the Commanders. I was right about us winning the division. I wasn't right about us going back to Super Bowl, but I'm right about most of the things I say. This is why we each other's co-hosts, because we the dudes that we know what we talking about. I don't believe in the Cowboys. I think Dak Prescott time is up, and I think it's going to show next year. Watch what I tell you. I don't think the Commanders are going to be as bad as they were this year, but I just don't think it's going to be good enough to be as good as the Giants. The Giants' D-line is ascending. They got a young, talented Scatterboo who is in my opinion, their best offensive weapon outside of Malik Neighbors.
I was about to say.
They have Malik Neighbors coming back next year. They got Jackson Dart. They're a couple like veteran pieces away from being competent on offense and a good offensive coordinator from being competent on offense and showing the games like they dominated us 34-17 multiple weeks in a row. They showed the Broncos too. They could compete. They just didn't know how to finish games. They could have won like 6 or 7 games this year, but they were up. They just didn't know how to finish. I think Harbaugh shows the experience. He teaches them how to finish, and they win games like the Cowboys, the Commanders. Those are no longer dogfights for the Cowboys and Commanders, barely scratching out with wins. I think the Giants start dominating. I like the Giants and us to be very competitive next year. Not saying we're going to lose the division, they're going to win. Not saying we're going to win the division next year. I'm just saying as of right now, I think the Giants are going to be highly competitive, and the Eagles and the Giants will be fighting for the top team in the East. And I think the NFC East football will be back next year, baby. Watch what I tell y'all. Go ahead.
So I'm believing when I see it with the Giants.
Okay.
I'm not saying I'm selling, but I'm not buying either like you.
Okay.
Like you ready to go get a Giants jersey? Like
No,
I ain't ready
slow,
to go
slow
do
down.
that.
Slow
No,
down.
you slow down. Like you
Slow down.
You already talking about they're gonna be vying for supremacy in the NFC East based off a new head coach.
Yes.
So let's be
he changes the culture.
So let's be very clear about one thing.
And guess what? Let me say what else. And shout out to one of my coworkers. He mentioned this because he's a Ravens fan to me a couple of days ago. He said Harbaugh doesn't make those same mistakes in New York. You know why? Because New York is a bigger market than Baltimore. A, facts in any sport. And B, he feels as though, and I agree with him, he learned from mismanaging Lamar and talented players like Derrick Henry. They're not going to let their New York media and market is not going to let him make those same mistakes. It's very little room for mistakes. And I think he corrects them in New York. Not saying they're going to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying they're the best team in the division or the NFC. I'm not saying that, but I think they're going to be highly competitive next year. That's what I'm saying.
So this is what I will say.
In years to come.
When John Harbaugh went to the Ravens, he inherited a championship caliber team.
Okay.
That included 2 of the absolute greatest players to ever play this game.
Absolutely.
Ray Lewis and Ed Reed.
Facts.
Those guys aren't on the Giants.
Okay. They don't have to be.
So,
what's your point?
my point is, we will see how good of a coach John Harbaugh is with the Giants. Because unlike the scenario that colored his Ravens beginning, you're starting from the bottom, right? You're not starting at third base, just trying to get home to home plate. You're starting from the parking lot, getting your parking validated. Like, you are starting from the bottom. The Giants were the worst team in the NFC East. And yes, they had close games where they could have won, inexperience, learning how to win. You brought up a good point. He's not going to have the opportunity to make the mistakes he made in Baltimore because this is New York City. So the margin for error is slim to none. You won't get 17 years in New York if you're not winning. You'd be lucky to get 17 games, which is the equivalent of 1 full season.
So let me ask you this, and then we'll go. Do you think, first of all, you're the analytical historian for football and sports in general.
I am.
Walking ESPN. It's like, anyway, on a real note, how many Super Bowls did John Harbaugh have?
1.
What year was that?
2012.
Was Ed Reed on that team?
Yes.
Ray Lewis?
Yes.
On the 2012 team?
And Suggs.
Okay. What year did John Harbaugh come in?
I believe Harbaugh came in
07.
07.
Took them 5 years to win. If they were so great, why didn't they go in year 3? And because I'm getting into
that's
something.
a question.
You know, let me finish. You know I'm getting to something. Because people always say, oh, Jalen Hurts and Sirianni are so good because they got A.J. Brown, Saquon, Devontae Smith.
No, you say
This
that.
was built.
You say that. Other people don't say that.
It took years to build, is my point. So don't expect John Harbaugh to take the Giants to the playoffs next year. I'm not saying